Good morning and welcome to your current affairs program, TMI, coming to you live from our network studios right here in Lagos on the ITV network. I am Joshua Okata. It's Thursday, 3rd April 2025, and of course, our program today would be centered on the reconstitution of the NNPCL board by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a decision that never sat well with a cross-section of Nigerians, some saying that it is a welcome development, and of course, others tagging it as the continuation of a tribal regime. Where do you stand on both sides of the divide? Well, I won't be doing this all alone, as I'm being joined by my co-anchor in the person of Charity. Charity, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Joshua. And good morning, welcome, and good morning, Nigerians. Thanks for joining us on the program.
All right, also I'm being joined respectively by our guest in the person of Dr. Dayo Kayode. He is a politician and of course a technocrat. Good morning, Dr. Dayo, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, it's my pleasure joining you this morning on your TV station, Josh, and
Charity.
Sorry, I wanted to say palliative because
I knew
Charity.
I knew that was what you were looking for. That's why I quickly said
do you always give palliative? Probably you gave me palliative before leaving this morning. It's my pleasure being with the viewers. I hope you enjoy your day.
All right, so now let's set the ball rolling. Now my question to you, Doctor, would be, how were you greeted with the news of the dissolution of the NNPCL board, and of course, given the fact that there's been a removal of the chairman in the person of Chief Pius Akinyelure and Group Chief Executive Officer Malamele Kolo Kiare, and the reconstitution of an 11-man team headed by the group CEO Amadou Musa Kida as non-executive chairman, and of course, Engineer Bashar Bayo Ojulari. What's your thought on that?
Yes, some other people will say it's a two-way sword, but my own is going to be a three-way this morning. And with that, I think other people will be able to have a larger view of their further narrative on this change in the management of NNPCL. In the first instance, you're going to see that those people that came in, they are from the private sector. Unlike Kiari, they have been there before, and some of the executive and non-executive members there. It has, no doubt about it, some advantages when you bring them from private sector, which for me is, I'm okay with that, because they're going to change from the private sector. They can change the narrative of operations, bringing their experience from the private sector, which is strictly business how to ensure that that particular corporation is making profits. And all we have been asking for since all these days has to do with what has been the profit of NNPC, okay, which is one. Two, when you also look at it, it's going to talk about professionalism, especially in terms of extensive, because they have been, look at that, the new GMD now. He had been working with, he had worked in Middle East, he had worked in the Middle East, he had worked in Europe, he had worked in Nigeria. To that extent, he has that extensive network. He has that extensive experience that we are supposing, I use that word now. Why I'm using supposing, I mean, you will get it to know later, to bring in to ensure that NNPC gets to a place like that of Baripas of Brazil, okay, like that of Saudi Aramco, okay. Now, aside from that, it can also be able to ensure that the books are well kept. But on the other hand, when you're in a public sector, you need to work with public policy. Will you be able to understand what we call public policy? That is one. Two, will it be totally transparent as regards operational activities of NNPC by not favoring not owing allegiance to where it's coming from when it comes to equitable distribution of business activities with NNPC and other with those in the public sector? Again, will he also be able to understand the intrigues that are involved in civil service in the public sector? Because reading his profile, he has never worked in the public sector. So will he be able to understand the intrigues? Now, the third aspect, which is more important to me, and why I was using the word suppose, is this. I could remember sometimes ago when President Muhammadu Buhari changed his service chiefs to be able, he was telling us that yes, he wants to ensure that there is security. I said, listen, it's not here Uhuru. It's not about changing service chiefs. You can bring the best of the military in the whole world as your to come and be your service chiefs. But to what extent are you going to allow them to work accordingly? Because you have, as a leader always has his own philosophy. So will your philosophy be in consonance with what those people are supposed to do? I can also remember when Rwanda was brought in to come and head the economic team then, and people were, I said, excuse me, it is not yet Uhuru. Because for me as a person, I like troubleshooting. I have known Rwanda for how many years? So many years back. World-renowned economist. But what happened? So also this. What are the motives, intentions, inherent intentions of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in doing this?
Now, let me
learn first.
Okay.
Because I said there are three ways forward, so that listener will be able to now know whether it is Uhuru or not. I'm not talking about tribalism now. I'm not talking about religion now. That is none of my business. I don't talk religion, I don't talk tribal. But I want to talk about the basics. How to move Nigeria forward. Where Nigeria can be where it used to be. Okay? Now, we are looking at this. What are his own innate intention of bringing in those people? Will he allow them to work accordingly? Look at what is happening. For instance, in the power sector. They came up with what we call bandit, they get to bandit. Sorry, is it bandit or bandit. The last one?
Bandit.
Okay, I thought it's bandit. Okay. Now the band A, you will be having light 24/7. Any little rainfall like this, they will take that light for 3 days. They will take that light for 4 days. I'm telling you this for free. So tell me, is that not a little bit of cheating Nigerians? Cheating Nigerians because we are making them to pay higher for services to be rendered that 24/7 they be having light. Even when there is no rainfall, they still don't have that light for 24/7.
Doctor,
I'm telling you from experience.
Permit
now the issue is this. One more second. One more second.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm saying here is this. Is Bola Ahmed Tinubu doing this to reposition NNPC in terms of especially giving people respite in the price of fuel? Now, Dangote was already bringing down the price of PMS. What is stopping us as a nation? I'm not a fan of Dangote, for goodness sake. I have never been a fan of Dangote. I can say it anywhere to express it. But Dangote has done something that has impressed me. Out of the whole Nigerians that have been getting this license for refineries all these days, is the only one that has been intentional about it by coming out with this refinery. So what is even stopping us for giving him that crude oil in naira, and at the same time giving him some considerations, because this thing is situated in Nigeria, this thing is for Nigerians. So why are you even considering what the price or whatever?
All right,
reduce the price for him and let us have respite in all this wahala. Okay, Josh.
Let me quickly button, because you've made mention of a whole lot of issues.
Exactly, because that's the way the question is.
I just hope time would allow us. Now,
we borrow time.
We've mentioned professionalism, competence. We've mentioned, distribution of equitable powers across board. You've mentioned hidden agendas.
I didn't mention hidden agenda.
Okay.
I said, what are the motives?
Okay, hidden motives.
Inherent. Not hidden. Don't use the word hidden, so that they don't say I'm saying the president is hiding. It's not hiding. He just traveled to France. Okay. And he told us he was traveling to France. But I don't know whether he has committed power to the VP, because we never heard that.
Okay, let's talk about the motives.
He'll be conducting.
How can you be conducting governance? That is part of the problems.
Let's stay on
inherent.
Let's stay on the issue.
No, inherent.
Let's stay on the issue, doctor. Now, you talked about the motive. Now, it brings me to the question. I'm putting this to you directly, doctor. Some persons are saying that this decision, though tough as it is a continuation of the tribal regime. What is your thought on that?
For me, I don't talk tribalism in governance. Rather, I talk of two things: competence and sincerity of purpose.
So where is federal character?
There are two things.
Character in this?
Listen, I don't even believe in federal character. I'm one of those that I don't believe in federal character. I don't believe in state of origin. Those two things, I don't believe in them. Okay, the issue is, if it is an Hausa, I'm an Ekiti man, but if an Hausa will take Nigeria to where Nigeria is supposed to be, good be it. Do I know where Trump is from? Do I want to know where Obama is from? Even when Sister Pelosi was in charge of the whatever. Do I know where he's from? Or Brother Biden? Do I know? All we are looking for, the Okada is looking for, is a cohesive and justifiable nation where everybody can go to anywhere and exhibit his or her potentialities for the greatness of our nation. I don't believe. Let him put Yoruba people there, if only they are competent. Let him put Muslim there, if only they are competent, and if only on the line there is sincerity of purpose. And that is what I'm saying. Yes, they are all professionals. They all have good CV, but the question is, where are you going to tell them to thank to? Because whatever you blow into the trumpet is what the trumpet will blow out. What instructions are you going to give them to follow? To what extent are your instructions going to give respite to Nigerians towards a meaningful a meaningful, recommended standard of living.
Okay, talking about instructions and competence. Now, one of the instructions given by the federal government is that the government targets raising oil production to 2 million barrels daily per day. That's by 2027, and 3 million daily by 2030.
And even increase the amount of dollar, maybe
exactly. Now, talking about instruction and competence, do you see this team achieving it? Because you are, from what you have said so far, you believe so much in the competence of this team.
Yeah. I will also tell you this. I can say, ensure you allow Josh to do this, okay? But between you and me, I've already used my own leg to tap your leg here to give you a signal. Don't follow that instruction. No, you should follow that instruction at your own peril. But maybe I have said it loudly. Josh have heard, but underneath, I have given you another instruction.
So you're not 100% optimistic.
Listen, whatever anybody is saying in this country, we are saying it from experience, because we have what I called huge deficit of truth in this country. Huge deficit of truth. Imagine the issue, the example I've just given you on bandit to bandit. Do you understand? Imagine the issue that happened during. Remember that I always call you COVID 419. The only person I was always calling you COVID, and people were asking me, why am I calling COVID 419? I said, because I know under this COVID there are a lot of 419 activities. At the end of the day, what happened? We saw people looting the warehouses where they were keeping all those things that were even given to us from the foreign countries. So it's difficult for anybody to just take whatever the government says, especially when you are having a lot of people in government that are having what I call integrity deficit.
Okay,
integrity deficit. So it's difficult for anybody to believe anybody. Until when I see, I will stand up to give Bola Ahmed Tinubu kudos. If at the end of the day, this will decide to be giving Dangote crude oil in naira, then at the end of the day, they are also adding in, because you are in Nigeria, you are a Nigerian, and you are selling for Nigerians, and we want Nigerians to have respite economically. We are also reducing the price even for you. Then I say yes, they are serious. But anything short of that, forget.
Now, my question to you now would be, you talked about public policy, and largely these individuals, this breed of individuals coming in right now, have made their mark in the private sector. Would there be some level of conflict of interest, just as you alluded to when you gave an instance of telling her that Josh should handle this, but beneath the table another direction is being given? So would there be some level of conflict of interest considering where they are coming from?
Those are two questions in one, and I will explain. Number one, imagine a professor of communication. I'm saying a professor of communication who even taught you communication in school, and has never practiced broadcasting. Never practiced broadcasting. Only theory, no practical. And they now ask the two of you to go for audition. Who do you think will win in that audition? What I'm saying is, essence is, it's not that it won't pass, but the way it will dot his T's and I's will be different from your own, because you have added field experience to your own. It's not that they don't know it, but when you're talking of public policy, is different from what they are saying in the private sector. Yes, educated, they read, they know. But how about the even ordinary interpersonal relationship? Even ordinary interpersonal relationship, what will be considered as A in the public sector will not be considered as A in the private sector. So it will need a lot of as much as I'm wishing him well, you know, I always wish them well, and I always pity them, because where they find themselves is not. Look at the issue of Fubara. I read something about Fubara. Fubara was a civil servant.
On easy lies the crown.
It doesn't.
He
was never ready to. He said along the line he wrote a letter of resignation to go and give to, but he rejected. Why? Because he found out that, man, this thing is too for him. Do you understand? So that is exactly what I'm trying to say. Again, the other one, the analogy I gave here as regards telling her to do something and then using my own leg to. It is what we call body language. It is what we call body language. Okay, let me also give you another example. Somebody who is fighting insecurity, and all of a sudden, some bandits, numbering over 100, went to Bogul, Kuje prison. And while going to that same Kuje prison, he met a lot of security people on the way. And those people could not apprehend them. At the end of the day, when Kuje prison was boggled and they did all they wanted to do, they went away. He traveled that same day. The president traveled that same day I think to Senegal or Gambia to go and do one thing or the other. It was even the following day that this my brother, what's his name?
Lai
Mohammed. Now went there. So what are you talking about?
All right.
It's all about body language.
We're about wrapping up, so we don't have much time.
Let us borrow some time.
So now let me put this to you again. You trusted the background these men are coming from because they've done well, exceedingly well,
according to their CV,
according to what their resume states.
Yeah.
The person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do you trust his sense of judgment as regards the selection of these individuals vis-a-vis what they would do in terms of making the life of the average man worth living at the end of the day? Please,
thank you.
Answer that in just less than a minute.
for that added statement. I will only trust this when at the end of the day it has brought in respite.
But like they say,
to the people.
An elderly man, what he sits down sitting, what he sees sit down sitting, a young man may not be able to see.
And that same elderly man, might be seeing something else. I'll be telling you what, might be seeing a bat. I will be telling you that he's seen a hawk.
So from your experience,
that's a elderly man.
From your experience,
because his vision is not clear.
Yes. So from the experience, will the administration in office?
Which administration?
I mean, these individuals who are coming on board, will it in any way improve the cost?
If these people coming in are being allowed to do things accordingly, I use the word accordingly, and appropriately.
There should be political will to do what.
Yes, because Bob Marley said, where there is a will, there must be a way. People are suffering, and two things determines the living standard of the people. One, power. Two, energy. So the moment those two are being taken away from the people, wow. Just like my sister Ezekwesili said, he said when the middle class of a society have started struggling for food, and you know these two things determines the amount of food that comes to your table, then that society is.
Do we still have middle class?
A good way to leave the program.
It's gone. Eh?
Do we still have middle class?
Let us have brother.
The gap has been bridged.
We will have brother
either rich or poor.
We will have brother Tinubu when he comes back from France.
That's a beautiful way to draw the curtain.
Let's borrow some time now.
Thank you so much. Dr. Dayo Kayode, politician and technocrat, for giving us your honest perspective on the show.
A political technocrat and aviation safety expert.
Oh, thank you so much for giving us your perspective on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's my pleasure being with you for the very first time. I hope we're going to have
we'll
continuity.
Definitely come back to this conversation. Let's give them a few time to hit the ground running. We'll have this conversation with you.
Thanks for having me. I really
thank you once again.
Thank you. And my sister Palliative, I hope I will get Palliative.
You will have replaced the name Charity with Palliative.
All right, it's a good way to wrap up the program, just as I said. But of course, it still continues as we'll be handing you over to our Benin Network for the rest of the program.